those will be for the most part.
You can.
Start spinning it.
You know,
I don't have the
little,
skill, so.
like an axe thrower, but a gavel thrower.
Casey. All right.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'd like to call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the Kildare Hills Board of Commissioners. Thanks to all the folks who've come out to join us for the meeting. If you would, please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. And for those not familiar, we also like to start our meeting with a short moment of silence where you can think about folks who are not having as good a day as you are. Thank you so much. Welcome. Good to see everybody. You have an agenda before you.
Mayor, move that the agenda be approved as presented.
All right, we have a motion on the floor.
Second.
We have a second and a half. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. We have an agenda. First item on our agenda, of course, is public comment. For those not familiar, we do a public comment period at the beginning of every meeting and the end of every meeting. So you'll have a second chance at the end of the meeting if you like. I do have, you don't have to sign up, but I do have 4 folks signed up, and we just ask this of folks speaking to identify yourself. We'd like to know your name, where you live, and try to keep it to 3 minutes if you're for an individual and 5 minutes if you represent a group. Anything that you submit in writing, of course, will be entered into the record as well. So the first person I have signed up looks like Terry Stewart. Hey.
He said I could touch it, so I'll just make sure. There we go. Terry Stewart, 2035 Newport News Street, KDH. So nice to be here. Thank you so much for allowing us this. Thank you all. I have written a letter in regards to my request, which is for a traffic signal survey done by NCDOT for the Avalon neighborhood. Of course, I presented a lot of facts in that letter so that you would be well informed why I'm desiring this. Along with, though, the letter is imperative, which is why I am here. If the request is not sent in to Mr. Davidson at NCDOT soon, he won't start us a traffic count in June. He has it in his agenda to do that he is able to put one down here. He's already got a team down here that started. His team at home has started the traffic incident report for both Durham Street and for Avalon Drive. So they can pull all the numbers of how many people are hurt, how many cars, and unfortunately, how many have died. I will say that in just this last 7 days, I saw a mom and a dad and a child crossing the street at 11 o'clock in the afternoon. We know what happens. It's just entirely too dangerous. Well, yes, there is a traffic signal at 5th Street and a crosswalk there. If you live in Avalon and you want to go to the beach and you're a visitor, you're just thinking, oh, there's the beach. And you come out Avalon and you're tunnel vision and you just want to go there because there's the pier. So it's just logical for getting people safely to there. There are at least 800 houses in that section that have no left turn to get into their home except for Avalon Drive. Many people use Durham Street, but that's illegal and extremely dangerous. If you want to leave to go left and to go north, you have to go across the traffic, which is very dangerous. Or you can be safe and you can go to 5th or 3rd. I go to 3rd or Helga. But yeah, that's a lot. The other thing I did not address in my letter was I did maybe. It's very unusual to do it in a neighborhood. However, at Collington itself, this light, one corner is residential. 3 are well, 2 are commercial and 1's empty. So we do have precedent in the community where there are residential sections that do get traffic signals. And we just want to keep everyone safe and accommodate what could make a lot less accidents. Okay, there's my 3 minutes. My goal
Thank you.
again, the letter to Mr. Davidson.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the list is Joe Ewer.
Good afternoon. I'm Joe Ewer. I live at 2016 Edenton Street. And I'm the secretary of the Avalon Beach Improvement Association, who holds deed to the Avalon Beach, not the Avalon Pier, but the beach beside it. And the board is unanimous in recognizing that the study needs to be done for the crossing light. But I don't know for sure about whether they're in favor of it yet, but the study definitely needs to be done so we can all look at it. And I think it would be a good idea myself. I've wished for a light there as long as I can remember, because turning left out there on that bypass from Avalon is dangerous. But anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Bonnie Langdale, maybe?
That's very unusual. I'm Bonnie Langdale. I live at 2015 Edenton Street. I'm also on that board, but I also live where I have to drive out that Avalon every day to go to work and take a left. And I'm thankful to be here today. So I am all in favor of having a traffic light and a crosswalk there. That's what I had to say.
Super. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Mario? Is that right? Rays, maybe?
That's right.
Oh, not too bad.
Thank you. I do live in Avalon, and I'm stressed out every time I go to turn right or left because it's nearly impossible. I think it's way far, the light in Helga and the one in Target, too long of a stretch, and people like to go 60 miles an hour through there. And I just seen things like people crossing the street that could have been just catastrophic. Thank you. We need that light.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's everybody that signed up. If there's anybody else who'd be interested in speaking at public comment, just come right up.
Hi, Caroline Dorman, 2032 Elizabeth City Street. Again, this is in favor of the survey with parking or the traffic lights. I would just like to say that with that addition of Target, that's really the thing that has kind of pushed us into wanting, although it has always been a dangerous area, wanting to have take a look at the way that whole area is done and be able to have something safer for the 500 plus residents that live there. Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, good evening. I'm Katie, and I own a home on Suffolk Street in the Avalon Beach neighborhood. I own one on Avalon Drive, and I also own one on Sportsman Drive. The one on Sportsman Drive is located on the corner of the bypass and Sportsman, and in the last year and a half, 2 people have been killed in front of my house. We need a light.
Thank you. So sorry to hear that. Well, one more chance for anybody else. There's somebody hiding back there. I think that not everybody, but all right. Seeing nobody else, we'll close public comment. Next item is response to public comment. I will say I appreciate hearing from everybody and appreciate getting the letters and the details, and I've spoken with some of you personally. Certainly, I'm supportive of doing the study. I will reiterate what I heard from several of you, or somebody I think mentioned about the new development with Target. There's the Wawa. There's some new houses coming in on the other corner. And you make a good point about the volume, the number of people that live in that neighborhood with no really other way to get out other than going all the way to Bay Drive and somewhere else. It's got to be difficult. So, there's pluses and minuses, of course, on the through traffic, but we are very supportive of, at least I'm very supportive of sending the letter from this board supporting doing the traffic study. And thank you for doing the legwork to prime the pump with those guys. That always helps. They love
Yeah.
hearing from the public just like we do.
Definitely for it.
All right, super.
Same. Yeah, I live in the neighborhood and right there, and yeah, the flow of traffic and how busy it's going to be. It's not even to the max yet, which is there's a car wash going in that obviously
Oh, right.
across the street
Car
from
wash too,
development as
yeah.
well. Wawa, of course. So it's gonna break up the flow, and that's the new busy area of Kill Devil Hills. So it's just like the area out here. So I think it's probably necessary.
We used to call it French Fry Alley.
Yeah.
That really,
The new French Fry Alley. Yeah.
less French fries, more car washes. apparently.
Yeah.
I'm definitely in support of sending a letter. What does that next step look like? Can you
Just-
all,
Your
you'll help
consensus,
us?
your consensus, and we'll get it in the mail.
Exactly. So it's basically done. We will take care of it.
I'll just chime in. I'm in support as well. I thank you for the emails and thanks for getting this process started. And I'm very hopeful that it will be the first step to rendering the desired results of this whole process. Thank you.
Well said.
Thank
Thank
you.
y'all very much.
Well, you might get to see us again.
Okay, good deal. We'll send you a copy. Somebody's coat. Any ongoing business items that aren't listed?
Yes.
And we'll jump right into new business. There's some items in our packet about the considerations for additional dune protection. Meredith, did you want to speak to that?
The memo lays it out pretty well, but we were asked by consensus from the board to look into our dune protection ordinance to try to minimize some of the construction on and around our oceanfront dunes. And we've looked at the ordinance and we have a couple of ideas to revise the definition. Right now it's a definition that matches CAMA, but CAMA's rules don't meet the needs that the board desires. So we would be revising the ocean dune definitions to be all dunes located east of NC 12 so that it's not a primary frontal issue. It's just
All
dunes. To limit the development on ocean dunes to only elevated structures. Prohibit any removal or relocation of sand from the dunes. And to add language for prohibiting destruction or removal of vegetation on the dunes without approved restoration plan. This would not prohibit a dune crossover. It just means when they went in to
Sure,
do it, they would have to replant it. It would limit removal of vegetation that wasn't going to be put back for some other feature that you might put up there. And delineate development standards between ocean and inland. And basically it would be breaking up that ordinance into two sections. One would be general regulations. One would be ocean dune regulations or coastal dunes. And then one would be inland dunes. Because the ordinance remarkably came in the early 90s for mining of inland dunes. They were mining the dunes back in the woods
Take the
to
sand
use
away.
as fill to build houses in town. So that's originally where the ordinance came from, and it morphed into more of a total dune ordinance, but it's not, it could be more
Be more
specific and give us a little bit more regulations. And we have conferred with Elizabeth City office, and we as a town have every right to have more restrictive ordinances regarding dune protection than the Coastal Area Management Act. And it was my understanding that that was the board's desire. And
Do you know of any other municipalities that up and down the coast that have more restrictive than CAMA, or is this going to
I
be
don't
kind of
off
the
the
first?
top of my head. We seem to be the only ones that are having the type of development on the dunes locally, just visually. We did do a kind of an aerial search of this happening elsewhere, and it's not nearly as prevalent in Dare
Other-
County as it is in right here in Kill Devil Hills. So not sure why we have the deepest lots.
Yeah.
And
Right.
with the way camera regulations work, We also have multiple sets of dunes,
But they're only really
but
Looking
they
at the
only deal with
farthest.
the primary. And if you look aerially, Dare County, there's typically a big one primary dune, and we have multiple dunes that lead down, and it's only the primary that CAMA protects. So any dune
you get a
behind
second
that
lump, you get
first,
off the-
behind that first trough, if it goes back up to the same height, that's not protected. And it was our understanding, and please correct me before we write this ordinance if I'm wrong, that we wanted to protect the system to the toe, whether there's a small trough, but it's height to the toe for the protection of cutting into it and putting hardened structures within a dune system.
And Meredith, that's actually, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's actually what CAMA used to have. It used to protect
You couldn't
And
put
so-
any hardened structures east
Right.
of the toe,
Right.
western toe of the dune.
right. So at
And
some
now-
point in the last 5 or 8 years or so,
And we've gone back and
Somehow
tried to
it's
figure out where it
changed.
changed, when
Yeah.
it changed, what update it changed in, and we just can't. It's
Just-
like the
just-
language just sort of got watered down.
the toe means something different now. It means
No, it
doesn't
only
even
deals
say
with
that
the
anymore.
first mound of the primary dune. And it was interpreted before that the minor troughs between
Counted as
the primary
all.
and frontal were still part of the dune system, and it was the western toe. But now it's being interpreted that that first trough is the western toe, and that's the protected dune.
it's a tricky one. On one hand, I really love the idea of protecting it all. On the other hand, without surveying it all, going out there and looking, don't want unintended consequences like it makes somebody's $1 million piece of land completely worthless. If the dune went all the way to the road, would that
We don't have that.
that doesn't happen? Okay, I don't know. You know the town better than I do when it comes to all these lots.
Yeah, see, I don't understand that too well because it's a little more restrictive than what I was thinking. If all these toes, as you speak, not understanding all the definitions and all that that go into it, how far back from the primary dune are we talking? How does it affect people's lots?
So
in
if
the
you-
future?
If you take, and I'll give you an example just to try to visualize.
Mm-hmm,
Pick one of our beach accesses.
mm-hmm.
You might have a sidewalk that goes for a while, and when you hit stairs, that was the old CAMA rule for the western toe of the dune, where you start going up. And behind that is perfectly fine, and you can move it, and you can level it, and you can grade it, and you can build on it, and you can harden it. But when you start going up significantly, that you can't put a sidewalk in it anymore, that's what would be considered the
Toe
toe
of the dune.
of the dune.
Mm.
And in some places that's 10 foot wide, in some places it's 25 foot wide. Where it's 25 foot wide, the lots are also 500 foot deep.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also important to keep in mind too that we're just talking about structure. You can still do raised decks
Right.
Oh, sure.
in those areas.
Any elevated
So we're
structure you
talking
want.
about concrete pools. I mean, there are currently concrete pools in a primary dune
Correct.
in Kildare Hills right
Correct.
now, as it's written.
They're
Which-
basing that on the trough as the way
Yes,
it starts. I
they're
always
basing
thought
that
it
on
was
the-
from the vegetated line back. No,
Yeah.
So you
no.
start, that's where you measure your setback from the first line of stable natural vegetation on
To
the
the
east
house.
side of the dune.
Mhm.
But when you come over the dune, if there's a trough or any type of flattening before it goes down to basic grade of the lot, they're not counting that as a dune. So we're having 20, 30 foot of dune mined and dug out for pools.
Well, I think
I
the
like-
preservation of the dune is most important. And I wanted to thank Ivan for bringing this up originally. I'm all for it.
yeah, I've talked to a number of beachfront homeowners and gone out and seen the lots and realized that the interpretation is clearly changing. You kind of look up and down north
Yeah.
to south and see, okay, building is looking different, and it's about pools mostly. Yeah.
And as we bring
pool
this forward,
houses.
Cameron's done a lot of aerial research from 04, 6, 9, 18, 20, and 23.
And you see a
And
definite
we
change.
we can clearly show you guys what the difference is and how it would affect old and existing structures.
Well, I support it.
I think everybody's for protecting the dunes. I mean,
It's
who wouldn't
exactly
be?
how to do it.
Who wouldn't be? Yeah, but that's non-starter. But I do want to see that. I do want to see what we're talking
That'd be
about because
good.
I have not been in these backyards like you have. I have not been to these.
I would,
I have not
a
seen
great
them.
place to start is Julie that has been emailing us.
Mhm.
I would call her
Yeah.
and,
Check that
and
out.
go check it out.
It's
And
something
you know,
to see.
it's pretty eye opening. Honestly, you could just go the closest access to Town Place, go in Atlantic and walk south. You can see them.
Mhm.
You can stand
You
at
can
the
see
top
'em.
of Atlantic and see it
And see
very,
'em.
very clearly.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good spot.
Top
to
of
look.
Atlantic.
The top of
You go to
Atlantic
and
Street.
walk up to
Yeah.
the top of the access
Yeah.
and look south, and
Yeah.
it's very, very obvious which ones have been built.
Pushing the limit.
So the one that Ivy's referring to at Mrs. Robinson's, if we're looking at the structure behind it,
Mhm.
where they've put the dune, which is grade level, is at the second story of the house. That's how high up on the dune it is.
Hmm.
The walkway is elevated from the second floor
It
deck
meets up with
to
the,
get to the ground level pool that they've dug into the dune. That's the differential.
Right.
That's 12, 15 feet of dune that's been disturbed. It's significant.
It was pretty eye opening to me too, as well. So my mother in law just she's getting older, and so she just put a deck not far from Julie's, and none of us like it. We're all appalled by it, but it's there, and it's her property to do what she wants. But when I was talking to Cameron, he said, actually, she could have put a pool there, and it is literally on, like it's on top of.
dude,
It's literally on the beach, and it could have been a pool as it's written right now, which is just
side story. I was
pretty. It's pretty scary when you think about long term, and then over the next 10 years, if it stays that way, what the dune line is going to look like, in my opinion.
It could make some compromises to our primary dune, which is our storm
Yeah.
barrier,
Right.
which is, why planning's concerned too.
Right.
is-
Keeps our infrastructure safe
Yep.
from potential overwash.
I'm going to mirror Commissioner Gray's comments. Good job, Ivy. I'm in support. It makes complete sense to me.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing what you bring back. Like we've got 5 bullets there. They all have merit. Only elevated structures is a great one. At the same time, I guess if you elevate something, the grass below, it's going to die anyway, unless it's really high up, I guess. Yeah, I love the restoration plan too. Like if you're going to disturb anything, building I think that's a no-brainer, right? I think we'd all be in on that one for sure too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And CAMA allows gazebos and observation decks and things like that on the tippy top of the dune. And we're not planning to
Yeah, I think we all are kind of in
compromise
support
any
of
of
that.
that. That's not something
That's
that
not
we're
what we're
looking at.
worried
We're
about.
looking at more of the hardened structures, or we're trying to recognize the dune as a whole.
Yeah.
That's what I got out of my conversations with the commissioners that have called me about it, is that they want to look at the dune as a whole rather than what CAMA's doing, which is creating this kind of change in how they've interpreted their own regulations over time. So if that is the intention of the board through consensus, then we will take it to the planning board in an ordinance form and try to provide some visuals so everybody understands it, and then bring it back to you. And if you guys want to move forward, you can. If it's not exactly what you want, then we can rework it.
I think it is interesting, though. Are we the first town of this kind to do this? Is that
No.
that's what I was? That's
No,
what he was
no,
asking.
Elizabeth City said that other people have higher regulatory standards
They
than CAMA.
can.
I don't know if it's specifically for dunes, but a
Oh,
lot
they
of
have
people
other
have
things.
higher regulatory
on
standards than
other
CAMA.
things, but not necessarily on dunes.
Knowing what they've done is always good to not reinvent the wheel if somebody's found a good way to do this too. So.
Yeah.
A lot in Carteret County do as
Carteret.
well. I've got some
Carteret
personal
does.
knowledge of that. So Mhm.
A lot of municipalities also are higher regulatory standards on piers, soundside piers. That's a big one in
Oh.
some of our inland
'Cause they're pretty
coastal
long.
counties
They're
because they can get very long and navigable and
Mhm.
blocking someone's view.
I
And
can see
a lot of municipalities, including Kitty Hawk, limit the length of the pier where CAMA does not. So it's not reinventing the wheel to have a higher regulatory
But on
standard.
dunes, it is.
I don't know
To be
the
honest.
answer to that. I said I didn't know the answer to that.
We'll get some more research on
That's
that.
interesting to know.
Tippy top.
I was going to share that I, work in vacation rental management in Hatteras and have been in some of those homes on, I forget the name, Ocean, whatever it is, the street in Avon that's right on the ocean. They used to have two dune systems. It used to be hundreds of yards wide. Now the beach, before the nourishment, was right at their steps and has taken out, I don't know, a dozen swimming pools there have been swamped and had to be taken away. There's one gentleman bought a house in 2019. It has an above ground swimming pool built on pilings. You've never seen anything like it. And it's at the second level of the house. So you can sit on that pool deck and actually see the ocean. And usually they're down below behind.
Yeah.
So you never know what people will do
That's
now
right.
that things are millions of dollars. An above ground pool on pilings. Never seen anything like it. So future.
Rich people.
All right. Well, thank you for this. And we look forward to seeing what you come back with. And feel free to continue the conversation, particularly if anybody has
Do
Do you
more
need a
ideas.
motion?
No, sir, but just to clarify, the intent is this will go to the planning board based on Meredith's memo and the bullets. They'll make their recommendation to the Board of Commissioners as opposed to something coming back to you before going to the planning board.
Right.
Yes?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
You don't lose your bite, to give
Correct.
your input or anything of that
Yeah.
nature.
Right,
So-
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just a little more
Yeah.
expeditious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we take that as consensus. Thank you.
All right. Super. Next item of business is the presentation of the recommended fiscal budget for 2023-2024.
Yes, sir. That is at your places this evening. It is in accordance with the provisions of North Carolina General Statute 15913. The governing board shall adopt a budget ordinance not earlier than 10 days after it's presented and not later than July 1. We need to have a public hearing where any persons can be heard on the recommended budget. And also, the board obviously would want to have a budget work session. We're recommending that you hold the public hearing Wednesday, June 14th at 6 p.m. And then subsequently, at the end of that meeting, hold your budget work session. And a motion would be in order to schedule the public hearing and the budget work session.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor from Ms. Ingram. Do I hear a second for scheduling a public hearing?
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Thank you. And Mayor, please, if any of the commissioners, if you have, as you get into it and start looking at it and have any questions, please give any of us a call, myself, Charlene, Angel, any of the department heads can speak to their specific budgets. As I had mentioned to you earlier, there is a recommended 3.5-cent tax increase for the fiscal year, and we're happy to review that with you at the work session or if you have any questions before that. So thank you.
Thank you so much. We look forward to getting into that at the budget work session. All right, if that's that, then we're heading into committee reports. I know you were at a meeting this morning.
I was. Do you want to maybe start
Let's get-
with somebody
start-
else?
start down
'Cause I
here. Any
lost
committee
the
reports?
thing.
No, I know.
All right, down and down.
I'm going to invite Sue Kelly to talk about the CAC.
I say hello to those oak trees in the backyard every time I come in.
Good evening, Sue Kelly, 211 Sea Village Lane. I really don't have a report, just want to mention our next meeting is tomorrow morning, 8:30 in this room. Welcome people to come. And also from me personally, we're going to be nominating our places for our appearance awards tomorrow morning. And if any of you have ideas for places that you think deserve a look at, consideration, I would be more than happy to take those down and see if we get a consensus around them tomorrow morning. Best overall, most improved, and best in a strip mall with other buildings. So I'll be here at the end of the meeting. And if any of you have any suggestions, I would truly welcome them. Thanks.
Super.
It's not strictly commercial. It can be churches. It really any.
Offices.
Yeah.
All businesses. Yeah. Cool. The only one I ever see is my Ocean Acres. I see, what do you call it? The pigmans. The beautiful yellow flowers they put out this time of year. They always look nice.
They do.
Pigmans.
Flowers.
They always put flowers out this
Yeah,
time of year.
They
It's
have good
nice looking.
flowers.
Maybe you get a new sign, but other than that, I won't give them a hard time out there on my own time.
No?
Looks nice. Mike McGee.
Dippy do. I said Mike McGee. Or Mike-
The gentleman plumber.
Gentleman
Yes.
plumber.
Redid that one. That's
Oh,
really
right.
nice.
Yeah. Check that out. You're way back.
Improve's going to be the competitive category this year. There's been a
Mhm.
lot of redevelopment in the last 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
Improved.
And lots of
Yeah.
Can't
untidy
forget
before
Target.
pictures. So it'll be a lively discussion.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I wish I could be there. Well, enjoy the meeting tomorrow morning. We record that? Can I watch that on YouTube? Probably not. Ivy, you're
Okay, I
up.
found my stuff.
Okay, good.
So this evening, actually at the Ramada
Right
right
now.
now, the Outer Banks Visitors Bureau and MMGY Next Factor, which is the company that they contracted with to do the long range tourism managed plan, which is the LRTMP, as we call it now. And so they're presenting their findings. And the findings came from the survey that we all did, a series of meetings, assessments from community leaders, which I participated in one. I think other people have as well. So a couple of key things. I've mentioned this before, but I think it's worth saying again. I wish more people were here to hear this, but 4,538 surveys were completed, which is the highest number of surveys from any other area that have ever been completed. They did one in LA, it was about 500. They received about 500. They did one in like around Calgary, I think it was 1,000. So we are like by a lot.
Wow.
And so anyway, we're like the poster child.
Right.
Yeah.
We
So
participate.
anyway, people care and people, obviously it's a big thing. So I just thought I would read really quickly the 4 strategic goals that they came up with that will be in some way incorporating, because I think it's important I'm sure we all hear, visitors and how our visitation has increased and what we can do to mitigate that and make it a little bit more sustainable. So the 4 goals, the first one is to strengthen resident and visitor engagement. The second one is to adopt an integrated approach to improving environmental stewardship. And the third one is to support infrastructure development that supports the viability of the community, residents, and visitors, and collaborate to advocate for an increase in residential housing diversity. So I think the 4th one we're crushing, because we're really, as a town, I think we're really taking steps to diversify our housing for sure. So anyway, we haven't adopted it yet, but there's lots of good ideas, and anyway, they go into depth into each one, and it's really, really interesting and some really good information that'll lead us to some more sustainable, and not just environmentally friendly sustainable, but just sustainable, manageable tourism in the future. So
Are they putting that report out to the public? Or?
they are, yeah, it's online
It's
right
already
now.
online.
Yeah, I posted it earlier, so with links to it. Outer Banks Smile posted a couple days ago.
I think they're probably
The
video
boy,
it tonight.
they're definitely going to video tonight, I'm sure, and or at least put the presentation up. I haven't seen anything on The Voice or Outer Banks today,
They'll
which is
probably cover
surprising,
this
but
event tonight.
hopefully
It'll
there,
be-
yeah,
it'll be
press
up
is
tonight or
definitely
tomorrow
going to be there tonight. So anyway, yep, that's all.
That's exciting. That's
Yeah.
been 9 months. in the
It's been
making.
9 months. Yep,
Yep.
exactly. Started in September. So Yep.
Healthy
Anyway.
price tag on it too. Worth getting experts in on.
Yeah. yeah, for sure.
All right, so that's the committee reports. Mayor's agenda, is that right?
Yep, Commissioners agenda.
Right, Commissioner's agenda followed by Mayor's agenda, to make sure I didn't skip anything. I had, in the packet, you saw a resolution opposing a bunch of bills in the State House. We're doing a little fine tuning on that, so I'm going to bring it back to you. We can do it by consensus, but I think we're generally all aligned on with the League of Municipalities and not liking what they're doing with a bunch of those new bills, but we just want to reword that a little
Sure.
bit and we'll get that sent out.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We'll just run it by everybody and make sure we got consensus on that. The other item I have is.
Read it by him.
Yeah,
What's-
that's-
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I'll take a look.
Yeah,
I'll take
definitely. Take a look. We want it to be strong, but we want it to reflect everybody as well as we can. So we got a few notes and we're working on it. Next item is we're gonna have a celebration. Cool flyer. Mary's Falls Park celebration coming up on Friday, June 2nd, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. That's of course over at Aviation Park to support local animal shelters. We're going to be picking up dog food and supplies, accepting donations to help dogs in need. We'll add some enticement with some free ice cream for the humans and maybe the dogs too, I guess, right? Dogs get ice cream. So grab a treat for your dog as well. There's a QR code on there that has a dog in the middle of it. Super cool. Cool. I like that. So we can have some giveaways, KDH dog tags available for purchase, $10 special price for Paws Park t-shirts. We'll have some town merchandise for sale. I read it all off the flyer, but I guess it's over here too. They've got a list online of things that they like to have donated. So if you go on there and if you are on social media, I know some of you guys are social media fiends, repost this stuff, but there's a list on our website. It's not just canned dog food, dry food, small kiddie pools, but a whole bunch of other little things that would be helpful for them. So we want to be supportive of that great cause, as well as celebrate this park and draw some attention to it, because it's a great resource for all of our dog owners, which is probably more than half the people that live in Gulfville, I guess. Do you have a stat on that?
We get them from all over.
You get them from all over, but yeah.
They like ours.
We have a high probably above the national average on dog ownership on the Outer Banks, I would imagine. So thank you for that. That gets through the mayor's agenda, town manager's agenda.
Mayor, back to Commissioners agenda.
What
think
did I
we
miss?
Skipped over that. Commissioners agenda.
Oh, that's what I
You
sorry.
guys did
I did
committee
committee reports and I forgot commissioners. Now I see what you were saying. Sorry, I got all excited about the Paws Park thing. Just calm me
did
But
down.
you got yours out of the way.
Got it out of the way early. The commissioner's agenda.
You gotta go first.
Commissioner's agenda.
Nothing for me.
You have
Oh, yeah.
something.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right. Didn't want to leave you hanging.
Well, you got to because we brought it back.
We brought you back. You got to have
Came
something
back
for
to
it.
it.
Yeah,
I don't have something.
I just wanted to
Play
point
this on my
out,
blooper reel, right? I have a blooper reel out there. So.
if anybody has read the Southern City, they have a nice article on managers in there, like this one.
Yeah.
And I mean, it really highlights how they make everything work.
Totally.
And it's a good article. I just wanted to bring that up, and we got the best one there is.
That's right.
Yes, we great.
Oh, my
so
goodness.
True. So true. We like making you blush, though. It's my
Okay.
favorite. We're so proud of you. That's awesome. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's a good article.
I read an article years ago about how not all states are organized the way North Carolina is. And,
No.
and it's one of the special things about the state that we have put into the Constitution, I guess, that we're run by professionals. You can't just trust the mayor with the stuff. That would be dangerous. I'm here to tell you.
No, we even had a little kid say they didn't even know we had a mayor.
That's right. Running roughshod in here, no kids knowing what I'm up to. Terrible. Can't even figure out an agenda. It's only got like 3 items on it. Read. It's like small children, they give me a hard time.
I've lost mine now.
All right, as I digress, that covers all of our commissioners' agendas, I understand.
Yes.
We'll skip back down over the mayor's agenda. Now on to the town manager's agenda.
No, sir, not this evening. Thank you.
She runs it behind the scenes without an agenda up front. No, I'm just kidding. Consent agenda, though. That's the where it really is.
Town attorneys.
Town
agenda.
Did I skip you too? I like a do-over. We're gonna start.
I thought you did.
Better have something.
I actually thought you did that on purpose. I said,
It'd be funnier if I
it's
did
mine.
that.
Better have something.
I'm funny like that. Yeah. I meant to do that. Sorry.
Debbie
Town
gets a great chance for a speech. Commissioner Gray commends her, and then her agenda item pops up. Because the mayor went first. You missed a great speech. Great opportunity for a speech.
I usually go to the town attorney and then I say, thank goodness he doesn't have anything to say. This time I try to skip him. He's like, wait, I have something.
Nothing. I don't. I wish I. Well, no, I don't. No, you're right.
2 seconds.
I'm glad that I don't.
Okay, all right.
That's
Hockey game. Let's go.
all right. Now we're I can't even trust myself to read my own piece of paper anymore. The town attorney's agenda, check. Consent agenda.
Yes, sir, we do. Consent agenda, the first item, the minutes from the May 8th, 2023. Budget amendment and transfers. We have the budget amendment that you approved at the meeting, at our last meeting for the street drainage and right-of-way improvements. We just wanted you to see actually how that money was transferred and so forth. That will allow us to sign the contract for that street work that will be done in the next fiscal year, but it allows us to sign it in this fiscal year. Got some contributions for the police and fire department, puts it in their budget for them to utilize. Amendment of the grant project coordinates for the Town of Colorado Hills American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, the state and local fiscal recovery funds. This is to record, is to amend the ordinance of 1910, and it's also to direct staff to transfer the $26,579.76 of interest that was accrued to the general fund. And the approval of the consent agenda will do that. Our partnership report, Interfaith Community Outreach, they have submitted their report for the year. They'll also point out, today we had our first Kill Devil Hills Employees Health Fair. It was out in the parking lot. The weather could have been better, but it was okay. It wasn't raining. But Jennifer was there with her people from the Interfaith, and she shared with Michael that we had several employees that stopped by and was talking with them, and some of the things that they provided. Now, whether it was for the employees, their family, or people that they knew, it just shows one more time how organizations like this do provide a lot of benefit to our community and to our employees. So it was nice having them there today, along with the YMCA and various other groups and organizations. Item number 5 is the Centenarian Society resolution. Our mayor got to meet Miss Betty DeGabriel to celebrate her 100th birthday. That was a really good picture of you two. And the approval of the consent agenda will record the board's approval of the resolution and induct her into the society. Schedule a couple of public hearings. The first one is a site plan review. The reason for this public hearing is because it is a special use. 207 West Martin Street, proposed cluster home development in a low-density residential zone, including 10 3-bedroom and 11 2-bedroom long-term residential units. The second one is a zoning amendment request. This is for commercial zone density, changing the density measurement to the floor area ratio. We recommend that both of these public hearings be scheduled for Wednesday, June 14th. And approval of the consent agenda will schedule these public hearings, and staff recommends approval of consent agenda as presented, and a motion would be in order.
Questions before we look for that motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
All right, we have a motion to approve the consent.
I'll
agenda.
second the motion.
I got a second from Mr. Windley. Any further discussion? Looking forward to some, besides about FAR, we'll talk about
there a
As we
question?
come closer.
Do you have a question?
Do you have a question?
Oh no, I was curious. The hearings is scheduled for the 14th, and that's also the work session. Is that right? Same.
Yes, so we'll have 3 public hearings at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay.
The budget, these 2, then we'll have the actual meeting, and at the end of the meeting, we'll
Then
do
we'll
the
have the
budget
work session. Okay. Okay.
Kind of like the public forum.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's all. That's not a question.
Right, right.
I realize we're doing all the same.
And there's no hockey games that night.
Yeah. It's gonna be late.
All right, so we have a motion and a second, and any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. We have the
Thank
consent
you.
agenda, and all those things are scheduled. We
And
have,
if I may point out before you move on, the site plans and the information that are in your packet, they will not be represented to you. So
hang on to those.
so hang on to those.
It's a lot of paper.
Yes.
We try to save the trees on that one. Yeah, really interesting set of plans there. We have now come to the next item on our agenda, which is our next public comment. All the folks here in the public that would like to comment, going once, going twice. Sue Kelly not coming up for redux. Yeah, she thought about it. All right, we'll close public comment, and I guess we don't need to respond to public comment. Have a thought before we close?
When are we supposed to be doing the manager evaluation?
I'm not sure I'm following. What's the question?
I think we were doing that in June as well.
Okay.
Charlene.
Oh, right, yeah.
I think so.
about it, yeah.
Then maybe the
Right.
second meeting in June would.
Yes,
You
I
better
think it
You
is
can
the
have a-
26th.
Pretty full one.
28th. June 28th.
Okay,
Gotcha. Good
Yes.
point, good point. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
thank you.
All right. Before we close, I would mention that I did get an email from Interfaith, and it's that time of year where they, not just we, have something on in the budget. Usually, don't we?
Interfaith?
Do we?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's, they were just reminding me that,
Yes.
think kindly about us.
They're
Budget
in
time.
our partnerships.
Yeah. That's what I thought. All right, other than that, we're looking for that last one.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Free of, yeah, we have a motion there to adjourn. Is there a
Second that.
second down here from Mr. Winley? Any further discussion? And if none, you'll be free of my gaffes this evening. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a blooper reel there. Woo!
He was probably.
I bet.
We're doing that.
Everybody has a beard.
Yeah.